Let's talk some toys in here.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Today it's the Man-Child. Okay, so today for review, this is going to be part 13 of opening up my MOTU Classics figures for talk and review. So if you're new here, pretty much as it is, I'm opening up most of my card at MOTU Classics. All right, do some reviews, maybe some comparisons, and a little bit of talk. So obviously I picked out 4 figures this time. A lot of my videos, I'll do 2 to 3, at least 3. And I adjust how many figures or what I do, just based on your feedback or comments. 4 is a lot. Even 3 is a lot of figures at time, just the editing and the time, what not to do. I think one of the funnest parts of doing this is not only opening up these classics figures and just reviewing them and playing around with them, because they are awesome, but to tell the, talk part or the childhood memories, if I have any. A lot of people in the comments resonate with that. And I'll tell you what, the classics feel like my 8, 9, 10-year-old self going back to the vintage days for some reason. And it's like taking the vintage figures times 10. And of course, we have the Origins out, and that does a whole other thing, But anyway, here's the 4 figures I picked. So we're going to get into the Horde, obviously. We have Mantenna, Leech, Hordak, and Grizzlor. Okay, first up, of course, we got to take a look at Hordak. So again, going back to a little bit of childhood memories, seeing Hordak on those pegs for the first time. Yeah, he was very sinister looking over Skeletor. He looked like he could break Skeletor in half when I realized he was a leader of this evil Horde faction or clan. And here's a quick look for the bio for this classic Hordak. You want to pause and read that. Here's a quick look around with Hordak and all his accessories, cut out of package. So, taking a closer look at the head sculpt and hood for this classics Hordak. Yeah, look at that face and just overall head design. Wow, that's, again, really sinister looking. I always love the open mouth with the growling teeth, or at least he has the 4 upper, teeth on top, in the mouth showing real bloody and red. So this classics one does have that, the red glowing eyes, but kind of dull on my figure. Now you notice there's a lot of little paint apps going on, so they really, spoiled this figure as far as paint applications. But yeah, I got a lot of slop and scratches and certain things in specific areas, or just areas they didn't really paint at all. Like one of the teeth are missing the it's not red, it's gray to match these, like the gray on the jaw pieces and the ears. I might do that with red marker. The silver around the hood, so he has like a silver. These highlights are trim. The hood and the bone pieces going around the main armor. Again, it's like kind of a combination with dry brush. I don't know if it's weathered. I guess it's supposed to be a weathered effect, but again, I can touch all it up with silver marker, which works really good for these figures. But aside that, it's just, yeah, again, you got the ears, I mentioned the eyes. So the hood is all, oh, so flipping the hood around, check that out. It even has like rivets that are painted silver going up the back of the hood, but then I got red scratches and silver splashes. I can see in certain areas of the hood because the overall color is black. The cape is all part of the hood. You can see that. We'll take a better look at that in a second. So checking them out from the side, right? So you can see it again, if you move the cape or the hood, everything moves together. So as far as the articulation with this head and the hood on, so let's see, he can basically spin it. You can spin, look that way all the way to the left, to the right. And you can look down a little bit and then go back. Oh, let me see. Okay, and it can look somewhat up. So you do have a neck piece, and then it gets hindered by the... So it's a solid piece in the top of the hood, but there is a space back there. But because of the fin on his head, yeah, it can't go back further into the hood, which is fine for Hordak. He always seemed to look forward with that weird-looking skull face. I like the color, too, on it, though. Aside the gray, it's just a bone color, but again, some type of reddish, like, dry brush or something all over it. All right, so we talked about the highlights, silver bone highlights around the collar, this little gem piece or jewels, even that's painted red. So flipping them back around, I just want to go over the cape real quick. So yeah, rubber cape, right, we were talking about, it's connected to the hood. Really good design. I love the folds in it. It's a soft material, but not like really gummy. It's actually more hard and soft. But you can still squeeze it, or, you can't really spread it out. I like the little cuts at the bottom. Here's a look from the back. Man, mine too. There's all kinds of scratches, damage. Back of the figure. So, all right. That being said, dropping down to the the main armor, right? Just that iconic chest armor. Hordak always is known for, going back to the vintage figure, the origins. And, okay, again, so the cape is all part of that hood, which this does, if you took the head off, this does come off. But I'm going to leave it on for now. He has his iconic, you know, the horse symbol bat, it's sculpted outwards and painted red. And again, yeah, you have the little rivets, I guess part of the armor painted silver. We were talking about the bones. Let's see. And then the armor looks like this is where it would normally separate, but it doesn't. It's all one piece. But they even have the little buckle straps that would separate this, painted red and sculpted like inwards, not just paint. And then you notice it's like a half cut, but he actually has a separate like a rubberized buck to look like it's still part of the armor. He has an Under Armour over the main armor kind of thing. So it's not just bare muscles with that half armor. I hate when I do that with the classics, but I like that. It works for Hordak. All right, again, there's the back. We'll remove it in a second. But the main point of that is the ab crunch. So, all right, you can see it in there. They have the cut. So as far as that ab crunch with this armor on, so see he can still bend all the way forward and go all the way back. All right, you can bend at the waist. Okay, let's jump back up to the arms. So yeah, just the He-Man style arms, at least as far as the shoulder and bicep. Yeah, the gray suit. I guess that's Hordak was always supposed to be wearing a grayish suit. I don't know if it's a skin or suit. It was always mixed. I'm gonna call it his suit. So he has gray skin, but that too has like a black. Let me see. Yeah, dry brushing effect all over it. You can see that in the legs, the arms. As far as the articulation with these arms, at least the right arm, and go all the way up, down, forward, back. You have the bicep swivel, bend up at the elbow, straighten all the way out. So as far as you can really go to the face, Hordak's really limited. It always seems like he had a shorter hand too. Like he has the black glove, which is all part of the forearm, but it's just, I don't know, it seems short to me. Let me see, compared, it's like when he puts his hand out, it's like, but down to the waist. No, I guess that's normal. Just this, it's the big biceps throws the littler forearm off, which again, the classics, I always love this giant muscle aesthetics. That's where the Masterverse really suffers because of the cut. But, you know, they have a better articulation where classics are limited. All right, anyway, we talked about he has the gloved hands and then, or the glove, and then it's all part of the hand. That can spin, and it's in a semi, like a weapon gripping position. And then jumping over to the left side, same exact arm, but now this has the Horde band that can slide up and down if you want it to. I'm just going to leave it on. I've showed this before in my videos, so it's cool he gets that. And you still have the bicep swivel there, right? As far as articulation, up, down, all the same stuff. I don't want to be too repetitious, but we'll test it out. Curious with the classics, years being a package, all good stuff, glove, same type of gripping hand that can spin. All right, and then, so let's finish the articulation up. Then dropping down, just a silver, I guess it's a silver, it's painted silver, but it has a black, again, dry brushing effect, or it could be black painted silver. It's hard to tell. Anyway, it's a good mix going there, and then he has a longer loincloth coming down, the furry part. It's like a 2000X style with this Hordak. It's not the typical He-Man short cloth like the vintage or Origins has. So that's cool. It's different. And that too, it's black with like a silverish, some of it's actually coming off, like a silver dry brush. How about the back? All right, and the back is just short. And then dropping down, so you just have your your classic style legs. All right, as far as the articulation, let's test it out here. Wow, that's okay. Go out with somewhat with a split. Gotta be careful with these figures. Kick forward, go back, bend at the knee. You have that, see that thigh cut, that swivel in there. All right, other leg does the same thing. And then dropping down has some really cool looking, the Horde boots. Right? Yeah, have the bat symbols that again are just they're pointing out or sculpted outwards, painted red. Again, you got that bone trim going around the boot, just like they did up here in the collar. Painted silver. And then these can spin, and then dropping down, you have even little like, it is just these reinforced metal pieces at the ankle. So also has like a silver wash on it. The overall boot's black, I guess, now. And then you can see the pegs inside there. And then you got that mechanical, like, three-toed creature foot Hordak always had. And that can go, as far as articulation, up and down. And, okay, that has a rocker joint. And the other boot is all the same. So once again, taking a look at the cape and the armor. So I'm going to remove everything off this figure. All right, so I guess we got to remove the head first because the cape and the hood is in the way to get, if you want to remove the arm. I don't think you have, no, you do have to. So let me see. Let me pull the head off the body first. I'm going to be real careful. All right, that's really tight. I'm going to have to get a blow dryer, heat it up, and remove it off camera. So with a little heat, I removed the head. Here's a closer look at that Hordak head, right? And just see in the back. And then, once again, so now the collar, this whole piece will come right off with the cape. There's your neck, your ball peg and your neck piece, and flipping them back around, taking a look at the back of the armor. Yes, yeah, oh, I thought that was silver. Okay. So to remove this, you got these 4 little, like, peg. Let me see. Okay, so it breaks like that. And, still messing around here. I pull it off this way, and pops right off the body like so. So, once again, with the armor, hood, and cape removed, and of course, I put the head back on. Here's a quick look at Hordak without all that stuff on. Right, and just how the neck would transition, or the neck would transition to the head, what it would look like. Yeah, it's always a strange looking head, but that's pretty much what it looks like. And the articulation is a lot better now. So I might go all the way down, up. Yeah, and then the body's just obviously a black body with gray arms. So I guess visualizing as some kind of body armor suit. And then, of course, here's a little closer look at that armor off the body. You know, we talked about the bat, the highlights, paint. You can see the 4 little peg, main pegs that go through these holes. How flexible it is. It's rubber, but it's a really hard piece of rubber, very similar to the cape. And then, of course, here's the hood. And we talked about the bone thing. Like even this have silver splashes and stuff. So it looks like from the side, better look inside. And you can see how the cape, yeah, it's all part of sculpt. So I guess I want to say everything is black and they painted the cape red, maybe. It's hard to tell, or it could be backwards. But anyway, it's a look at everything. Okay, moving forward with Hordak's weapons and accessories. So first, check this out. He gets the Horde staff with the bat on top. That's an awesome looking piece. Very rare. I think it's only Classics Hordak to come with this. Yeah, excellent detail. Got like the orb up top, the claws going around it. There's the bottom. It's really it's a nice hard plastic, by the way. It's not like really gummy. Bottom, the back. See Hordak's face in the front. All right, and then of course it comes with the iconic Horde crossbow. And these ones in the Classics are just amazing how they're sculpted and what they look like. Obviously, there's a top. It's yeah, it's black, but again, it looks like it has a silver overspray, or it could have been silver with a black one. It's hard to tell. Little buttons on the top, or rivets or something, or painted silver. You have red eyes. Look at that sculpted bat face, the ears. All right, okay, we talked about the eyes, open mouth, and what I like with these, they have an arrow getting ready to fire at it, open mouth, or a bolt, excuse me. There's a bottom of the grip. And then the last accessory comes with the vintage style imp. Right, so the origins of the vintage Hordak had something similar clipped on to the wrist, which I'll bring the origins one in soon. We'll compare them, but you get that very demon looking. Which the cartoon or the animation one had an imp, and it looked just a little more silly, and more friendly. This is really cool. Has fangs, silver eyes. The teeth are, the wings are pretty flexible. You have a tail, and then the 4. Hands and feet, or paws are going forward because this clips on his wrist just like the vintage one did. So it's a neat accessory as well. And once again, here's a look at Hordak all done back up with his armor and cape, stuff like that. Of course, I put the crossbow just in the left hand for now, so you can see how he can grip it. And the little stock in the back kind of shoulders. It's like a shoulder stock, but actually can shoulder against the shoulder or the bicep. That looks pretty cool. And then, of course, I put the, his Horde staff in the right hand. And then going back to this imp, so you can, looks like you could sit on his shoulder if you wanted to, but it doesn't really, that's how it is in package, but they have it like rubber band. It doesn't really sit up there. If you clip it to the hood, I don't know. I think it's meant for the wrist. So again, like the vintage origins, you can take the tail and the feet going forward and clip it down by the wrist. Okay, so I had to heat it up with a blow dryer I have off to the side because I was surprised how stiff that was to snap onto the wrist. Never forced nothing with these figures. But once you do that, clip down perfect. Look how cool this overall setup looks with that imp, staff in hand, crossbow in the other. That's our Classics Hordak, all set up. Looks awesome. Moving on to comparisons or a comparison. So I'm just going to stick with the origins with this video with the Classics. The Masterverse has more the Princess of Power style Hordak and Leech and those figures out. I don't think they go good with these. They're kind of their own thing. And the Masterverse also made the Revolution Hordak, which, I don't know, I put him away. I really didn't care for him after, I had him enough time. Just things I didn't like about him. But anyway, here's a quick look at these two together. And really, this kind of where the Classics originated from. Or, of course, the origins originated from the vintage, but they all came from the vintage. So just a quick look at those two together. You just kind of see the differences, how they went about them. Now, there's that imp, right? Most of us know what we're talking about. Really wacky looking. I mean, it did what it has to do at the time. It's a crossbow. You can just see the overall head sculpt designs. All right, and yeah, the capes. Side that, they're both Hordaks are really cool. I mean, it's just the vintage nostalgia with the origins. I love this Hordak colors and what he looks like. But this Classics is just it blows everything away. He looks so awesome with his accessories and just overall design and colors. Next up, we have Mantenna. So Mantenna was one of the first Horde figures going back to the vintage days that caught my eye. The days when I was around 9 or 10 on my toy hunts going to Child's World and coming around that corner looking for newer figures. And when I went in there, they had all the newer Horde figures on all the pegs all the way up to the top, right? So, but just something with Mantenna was off. He just happened to be one of the first figures on the outer pegs, and I just looked at him. He had the 4 legs. Now, of course, the vintage one, the legs were they were sculpted together. It was fun for the time, but much better with the Classics, and of course, what the Origins did, separating the legs. But it's just, I remember seeing Leech and Grizzlor, Hordak, and then, of course, Mantenna. And it was another rare occasion where my mom let me get all 4 of those figures. Because usually if I went on a toy hunt and they had 1 or 2 newer figures every 2 to 3 months, at the time when they were coming out for the MOTU series, yeah, she let me get all 4. Might have been my birthday or something close to it. And then I remember going back 2 months later, and I think I got Modulok. And then later on, towards the fall or maybe the holidays, the Fright Zone came around. And then, of course, Multibot and so forth and so on. But another thing I remember going back to those childhood memories is seeing these figures and saying to myself, how is He-Man basically going to defeat or fight these guys? Because they were so vicious looking compared to Skeletor and his henchmen. And on another note, I was talking to my best friend of 30 years who also loves the MOTU brand, and we were sharing stories going back and forth when we were the ages of 9 or 10, because we're the same age now. And we didn't know each other then. And it was so funny because he had a very similar story. But he was out, instead of Child's World, he was out, I think, at Toys R Us with his aunt shopping for a birthday gift for his cousin. Now, him and his mom lived with his aunt and cousin. And so my buddy goes around, sees these figures, same thing, was blown away, just the Horde. He kind of knew who they were a little bit, so did I. Knew they were coming around, but, you go and now they have them all. And his aunt comes around the corner, and she's like, yeah, who are these? And he explains the Horde. And he was thinking the same thing. How is He-Man going to fight or defeat these guys? It was so funny. He said the same thing, or something close to that, what I was thinking, around the same time we didn't know each other. But his aunt bought all 4 figures, just like my mom did for me, but they weren't for him. They were for his cousin, right? So they go home, and it was like a slap in the face. And his cousin got to play with them, and he didn't really care about him the way my friend did. Now, of course, my friend living with them got to play with the figures and, showed him, he knew about the eye-popping action feature with the vintage Mantenna, the Leech suction feature. He was combing and messing around with the Grizzlor hair, which is funny. He told me that because I used to do the same thing. It used to drive me nuts with the hair sticking up. I try to comb it back. Anyway, just some more awesome childhood memories that I can relate to with my best friend. And here's a look at the bio for Mantenna. You want to pause and read that? And here's a quick look around with Mantenna at a package and all his accessories. And I got to say, this Classics Mantenna is probably one of the coolest figures I opened yet. So, taking a closer look at this head sculpt for this Classics Mantenna, look at that. That is really incredible. I mean, it's kind of modeled after the vintage or somewhat what the Origins did, but yet it had, also I'd say the 2000X look. You ever watch a 2000X cartoon? The Horde appeared very briefly and they showed Mantenna and it looked very similar to this, from what I remember. I mean, yeah, really evil looking. A lot of cool details going on. Where do you start? But all right, so yeah, he has his big bug eyes. Now, he doesn't have the action feature. He has plug-in eyes, and these come out. We'll get to that soon. But for the most part, they don't articulate. They just plug in. But those big, yeah, giant yellow bulbous eyes with the little retinas in the center, or pupils in the center, excuse me. Look at the mouth. You got that, yeah, suction cup, leech, like something like a lamprey with the teeth going around. All sculpted and painted. You got the 2 big fangs coming out of the, left and right side of that. Obviously, they're rubber. They don't come out. Not all part of sculpt. Got the big ears. So yeah, obviously Mantenna's special abilities. You can hear from distance, with the ears, with the bug eyes when they protrude out of the head. Can just fire energy rays and stun rays and all kinds of stuff like that. If you read the bio. As far as the articulation with his head, so let's see. Spin all the way to the left, all the way to the right. you can look all the way down, and as far as you're going to go back, because I think it hits the ears or the back of the head. Spin them around, check out the extra details. Man, a lot of cool stuff going on. The ears are yeah, the rubber, by the way. You can move them. They're not articulated, but just look at the back of the head. Just, yeah, all the extra sculpting in the back of the ears themselves. Little extra ridges going around where the skull goes into the neck. Now mine, oh man, look at that. Mine has bad chipping in the red parts. All right, so this part's all black and they painted it red. Has a nice wash all over the head, so it's red, but it's a blackish. I don't know if the head is black too and painted red. I know this armor piece is. I don't know. Anyway, so all right, while we're talking about the action feature, the bug eyes. So it looks like to put these up. So here's the other ones. I should have mentioned that. Same type of eye, but they're they're extended and they kind of curve a little bit. You can see how they plug and peg in. And going back to the head once again. So let me see from what I see, this mouthpiece. I think I'm plugs. Let me just see. All right, there you go. So it pops off, and you can see there's 3 plugs. Came off pretty easy. Here's a look at the face, and then the eyes. So I'm gonna get my hand in there. All right, so there's that one. You can see the the plug. Right, better look at it. And then the other one. Let me see here. It pops out like that. All right, and then of course with the face piece and the regular eyes removed, we're just gonna plug these other ones in like so. Let me see, and then push that one in. See how easy they go in. All right, that was pretty easy. And then you adjust them, and then just put the face piece back in. And just a quick look at that setup. So yeah, we have the extended eyes, or the bug eye popping action features, we used to call it. Obviously, there's no action feature, but the bug out popping eyes, I'll call them. Yeah, real easy how they went in. Obviously, I showed the face piece comes out, how to put it in, how to plug the eyes in. Then the other thing is, so obviously they're kind of curved. You can spin them around or to the side, make them look this way, but it looks goofy. So I don't know which way. Let me see if I spin this one around. I don't know which way they're meant to go. All right, that works too, I guess. Wherever you just kind of line them up, but that's cool. They look pretty neat from antenna and doesn't affect articulation. It's all the same stuff. Okay, moving down to the chest and buck area. Yeah, again, always really impressive looking on antenna. Even going back to the vintage, just with this sort of plating of some type of armor design, I guess. It's part of his body. Or maybe it's just, yeah, I think it's all part of his body. But you got a couple different layers going on here. So not only do you have the upper plate that extend, underneath the head to the neck, you can see, once again, flipping over to the back, see all the plates for the spine. And you even have a spine piece that goes all the way down to here. Yeah, and again, mine's chipping. I bring it up for a second time because even parts of this armor with the, like around the bat, I got chipping here, some scratches and chipping up here. You can see paint chipped. Looked like it came off here and went onto the arm, or it was an overspray. Yeah, something you got to be careful with. But aside that, then this extra reinforced chest armor plate, that's painted orange, a little different. All right, so we talked about the bat. I love how the bat, just how profound it is. Just the sculpting outward. It's just thick, you can see the wings coming off the main armor piece here. Of course, it's a Hordak bat. All right, now of course we have this piece here. Now is that all right? That's a separate piece. Or I don't know if that was also, looks like that was black and painted red. So you got to use caution with that. So he does have the ab crunch with this. Again, talking to just the whole idea of the separation with the plate. And if you move it up. So the bat is it's the articulation ends under the bat. It goes up and down. That's as far as you can go forward and back. Can spin at the waist and spin them around again, so it's a better look at all the back details for the ab crunch and cut. So moving up to the arm, so yeah, it's a whole new style arm for the most part, but it has like the big He-Man style muscle statics biceps, and which I like because Mantenna always had, like in the vintage one anyway, had smaller arms, I think from what I remember. But yeah, you have the fins obviously, and going down, the shoulder, the bicep, and even part of the forearm. So as far as the articulation with this arm, you can go all the way up, down, forward, back, bicep swivel. These fins are soft, by the way, they're rubbery. Bend at the elbow and go all the way up to the face, center of the mouth and chest. Right, straighten it out. Yeah, and then you have like a wrist bracer that's all part of the sculpt, goes all the way around. He even made like a little cut to accommodate the fin on the forearm. Pretty cool. And then he has just weapon gripping hands with black nails painted, and they can spin, right? But they don't go in and out. And then going over to the other arm, it's exactly the same arm, up and down, right? Same articulation, spin at the bicep, Let me see, go forward like that. Yeah, you can go all the way back, bend at the elbow, to the face. All that good stuff. Same type of wrist bracer, right? Black one, again, with the little cut for the fin. And the, well, let me see, that hand is, so it's like a weapon gripping hand, but it's actually it's sculpted open more. It's wider than this one. This one's like, yeah, tighter to hold weapons maybe. Let's move down as far as, then he always had this unique, yeah, like this is his loin guard, and then the yellow belt that goes around. But of course, this is different to accommodate 4 legs. Look at that, going around the front, and even have some plating on the very back. So yeah, one of the most notable parts, aside the head and the bug popping eyes and all good stuff, is the legs. 4 legs. So yeah, the classics, because as I said, the vintage had the legs stuck together, but the classics gave them 4 legs. I knew that in package, having in package for years, but now I really get to take a look at them. So it looks like all 4 legs, they're all right. They're exactly the same. I mean, all new tooling, of course, but so the all right, the front and backs, you can just see they have extra like texture, little bumps going over the. They feel like they could be like crab or shell type legs. I guess he's kind of like an insectoid type of character. Fins here in the back. This one's all the same, very soft, right? And dropping down, check that out. You have the Horde style ankle bracers, and again, like the fins they have special cuts to accommodate the fins coming out, very similar to the wrist bracers. They're also rubbery, and I got some paint splash over here. Then you have these knee protectors that have like a metallic blue colors. I like the colors on. That's pretty cool. And it's different from the legs. I like all the colors on this figure. They really stand out. So the ankle guards, or half boots, I'll call them. Yeah, just sculpted out horde bats, painted red. All right, and yep, the other foot, so all the same. Let's spin around to the other side. Yeah, all 4 legs are the same side, left and right. Designs for left and right sides. And then dropping down, so let's take a look. So you can, all right, we'll get the articulation in a minute. I'm just looking at all the details. And then you got the mechanical foot, okay, and then that's also painted metallic blue. So let's start with the articulation, kind of going backwards here. So with the front legs, all right, so we identified that all 4 legs are exactly the same, these boot, ankle brace, boot kind of things, in the feet. There's nothing different. So as far as the articulation with the front legs, you can go all the way out with a split, like this, right? You have the swivel. You can see on the inside, you have the swivels. You can kick forward, go back a little bit, bend at the knee, spin at the knee, and then, yeah, dropping down here. So now these, I don't know if these boots spin. I don't think they do. I think the boot, it looks like they're all part of this knee guard, and that's what spins at the knee, right? And then as far as the foot can go up and down, and it rocks side to side. And this has like the rocker joints that are cut outside the boot, which you get even better articulation. But at the same time, I say you get a lot of chipping, and it's just ugly for the aesthetics. I don't like when they do that with the females, but that's what they gave them. And they're not too bad because of the colors. And let's see, so the other foot, or leg, excuse me, is all the same. Spin, kick forward, go back, bend at the knee, spin at the knee, right? Foot goes up and down, rock side to side, all that good stuff. And then the back ones could also go out with a split. So you can put all 4 legs out with a split. I probably should have did that. There we go. So, and then just flip them around. And so here's the legs from the back. This one's backwards. But same thing, can spin all around. Probably this way you want it. And then, yeah, bend at the knee, spin at the knee. All the same. Everything the same with the front. You go up and down with this foot. Rock side to side. All right, let's test the other leg. All the same. Okay, and then you could do some cool positions with the legs. So not only go out with a split with all 4 of them, but like do some high kicks, if you wanted to. Yeah, stand on 3 legs, do a front kick. Just all kinds of neat stuff. Not only position them, and then the other trick too is like the right way to position them, standing on all 4 legs in some type of attack stance. All right, and there we go. And it's Mantenna, somewhat in a stance, something you got to mess around with. Put these back like that. How's that? Okay, yeah, pretty cool. Do with all the legs and the setup. And moving forward with Mantenna's weapons and accessories. So he just gets, another crossbow. It's the same exact one that Hordak comes with, from what I can see. But it's casted in a metallic silver color. So that's cool. But there's no other, I don't see any other extra details on it. Same handle. Has a little bolt coming out of the mouth. And there's a quick look with the crossbow in Mantenna's right hand. Because, again, it goes back to that gripping hand. The way it's sculpted, it seems to hold the crossbow better. And of course, you can use the back of the stock against the bicep or shoulder. And I just kind of position them in another similar battle stance. Again, you can play around with the legs, put the arm up, the eyes forward, the head, however you want them. But if you try to put this crossbow in the other hand, now it could just be my figure, he doesn't really hold it well. See, it's like, it wants to fall out. So I don't know if this is a QC issue with the hand sculpted that way, or it's just, yeah, there's a reason for that. But anyway, and then moving on to comparisons against the Classics Mantenna and, of course, the Origins Mantenna. There's a quick look at those two together. And, yeah, if you're familiar with the Origins Mantenna, if you're not, they did a really good job on him. He made, like, one of my top 10 favorite figures list at the time. But another one, just when he come out, I didn't expect them to give him 2 separated legs. I wasn't sure if they were going to do that. I thought, a lot of these figures are trying to eliminate certain action features or changing them around or saving tooling costs, but they did an awesome job on this Mantenna. But same thing. I reviewed him a long time ago. Yeah, for, just all the legs are independent. You got the boots to spin, cool looking arms with the larger muscle aesthetics. Good looking, you can see the difference in the chest design and the back. This one too has a little chipping. Something with the red. And then, of course, with the Origins Mantenna, they put back the action feature very similar to the vintage one, to where, yeah, see, so you push the lever in it back and the eyes pop out like this, which is pretty cool. And the articulation, yeah, it's really excellent articulation. You can pop the heads off, change. Again, I did the video, when I reviewed him, I did all kinds of part swaps, and oh wow, he's chipping back here too. What's going on here? I'm going to have to get some red and touch these two figures up. All right, side the chipping, there's still 2 cool-looking figures for the Master Universe series. All right, once again, moving forward, taking a look at Grizzlor. So yeah, once again, going to Child's World as a kid, seeing all those Horde figures laid out and the pegs top to bottom, all the way up and down. Grizzlor really stood out with all that fur. It's the first time I've seen a MOTU character with that type of fur. And of course, you had Mossman, but he was like flocked. That was impressive too for the time. And yeah, Mossman came out first, and Grizzlor, I believe, came out later. But looking at him, he definitely reminded me of like the Horde's version of Beastman / some type of cryptid, but yet a wild wolfman type of character. But yeah, I always liked that Horde harness. Again, the fur. And a big furry head, too, as I always said. I used to comb it back. I use my fingers or my thumbs. It used to drive me nuts. It's funny, the Classics one, the hair looks just such a mess as well. And here's a quick look at the bio for Grizzlor. You want to pause and read that. Here's a quick look around with the Classics Grizzlor, cut out a package with all his accessories. So, taking a closer look at Grizzlor's head sculpt. Man, that looks incredible. Very, very ferocious looking with the face, the fangs, the eyes, crazy hair. Yeah, just excellent job. I love the eyes, too. It's like, they're painted red and they have little yellow pupils you can see, but they have a weird glaze to them off my lights. Pretty cool. And yeah, so obviously hair all over the place, right? The big fuzzy hair I'm always trying to comb back. It doesn't look bad because the vintage one was always like this. No matter what I did, I couldn't seem to fix it. But this one, you can do that, right? Or you can just comb it back, sort of, and it seems to form back a lot better than the vintage one. It's pretty cool. Either way, it's a mess, leave it like that. But yeah, it's just, I love it. It just reminds me of the vintage one going back to being a kid again. Anyway, as far as the articulation with the head and with all his hair, look all the way to the left, the right, look all the way down and back. Yeah, you got to watch. So the hair seems, every now and then little pieces come out of dust, so you got to be careful. I don't know the longevity of this out of package, but for the most part, yeah, it seems okay. There's a look at the back, right? And you notice this too, he has a back, like a 2000X inspired backpack. So I think the figure and the neck extraction is something like that. We can hold the weapons. We'll get into that soon. So yeah, dropping down. Has the iconic, his chest armor, the cross armor, or chest harness, excuse me, with the big Hordak bat. That's pretty soft material. Of course, you have the 4 yellow straps going around. You can see with all the fur, so much fur everywhere. And you can see it kind of has like a belt piece. It's part of that. It goes around the bottom again. So let me see. All right, it comes up here. And that's how it plugs into the back of this. As far as the articulation, so you can spin at the waist. And does he have the ab crunch? Yes, he does. He has an ab crunch. Goes back. I'm assuming they have a Beastman body because you can see that with the arms and the legs. And yeah, just again all the crazy fur all over the body. I'm guessing it's just one big piece. Somehow they have in a body. You can see where they have it sewed around the legs here. They have like clean seams. But if you pull this back, I'm not sure how it comes off. not going to rip it off my figure, but he has a regular loincloth and yellow style belt. See that? It's pretty cool. I didn't know it was under there. Figure something like that. But yeah, the fur goes all the way down around the bottom and top and arms. Why does it go out? So yeah, you can pull it all the way out, make it really fuzzy. And again, you got to watch because pieces will come off. So that being said, as far as the moving up to the arms, you had our Beastman arms, classic Beastman arms. As far as the articulation with those arms, you can go all the way up, down, forward, back. You have the bicep swivel, bend up the elbow all the way to the face and to the chest because of that long forearm. Really good. All right, talked about, yeah, the fur on obviously is part of the Beastman arm. Then he has the yellow wrist bracers that looks like it's all part of the forearm sculpt, but painted yellow. And then 2 weapon gripping hands. All right, let me see, can it spin? There you go, spin. The nails are painted black. And then jumping over to the left side, you know, the arm's all the same. The side has the horde band, which we know can come off if you wanted to. Just leave it on, go up or down. But again, with the articulation up, down, or out, out, down, back, forward, bicep swiveling with the band on, bend at the elbow, everything all the same wrist bracer, right, sculpted, painted, and same type of hand, painted nails. All right, so we talked about, see the fur, we spun at the waist, did that. Okay, I'm still looking this figure over. And then dropping down, so even with this big furry pelt piece, it goes all around his whole body with the legs, so Beastman legs, but there's the articulation. So, all right, cool, we can go all the way out with a split, like this. You have that swivel, you can kick forward, go back, bend at the knee. Other leg, oh, that leg's stuck. Other leg's all the same. You can see the joint in there. Okay, and swivel, back, bend at the knee. And then dropping down just has his own unique, like horde style boots. They're kind of like a gray, like a metallic. It's kind of a weird color. It's almost like a metallic blue with silver tones in it or something under my lights. But anyway, you have those boots, really cool, you know, and yeah, I like the color. Spin at the boots. Of course, he has the horde bats sculpted outwards, painted red. And then you have the foot part of the boot, go up and down, rock side to side, and the other boot is all the same. Once again, taking a look at the back of this backpack armor piece. Now, this is designed to hold his weapons. We'll get into that very shortly. I just want to remove this off the body. So it looks like the belt piece has a couple pegs in there, or pins. Let's see. I guess if you pop, all right, there you go. So you break that side, you break, it's kind of stuck. My fingers getting caught in the fur. How about that one? There you go. Break it like that, and then, all right, come right over the head and pull off the body like so. And here's a quick look at that armor off the body. All right, so we're familiar with the bat, the overall straps, the belt piece. Here's a better look at that backpack, and I don't know if this comes off too. You could just use the armor without the backpack if you wanted to. Looks like it's pegged and glued in, maybe. I guess you could if you wanted to. I'm just going to leave it on, but it looks like it can come off. Then, once again, taking a look at Grizzlor with the armor off the body. So we could just take a better look at, yeah, obviously, all the fur. And look how fuzzy that is. Spread it all out. Right. So, look at the bottom, and here's a look at the back. It doesn't change anything with the articulation as far as the arms or the head, but yeah, it is really wild looking. Taking a look at Grizzlor's weapons and accessories. So he gets a, looks like a tribal belt. I think this was a 2000X inspired belt, what he wore in the show. Pretty cool. You have some like spearheads. It's all part of sculpt. It's a symbol piece here, right? See how it goes on to the back, or how it snaps on. Neat accessory. Then he gets a horde style crossbow. Now it's sort of identical to Mantenna's and Hordak's, but different. Still has a bolt on it, but there's differences I can see on the top. Yeah, at least the top part of the head and the shoulder stock part is different. Of course, it's the green color, just like you would get in a vintage. Get a machete, right? Really good details, colors, metallic silver. Then he gets a longsword, also same color as a machete. Really good details. It's a really nice. It's good plastic too. It ain't too cheap, like rubbery. And then he also gets an axe as well. Okay, once again, taking a look at Grizzlor. Of course, I put his armor back on. I also installed this 2000X style belt. You see how it goes around, snaps around the fur. You had to really stretch this. Fur was, yeah, it was kind of gotten away. I put the little axe in the right hand and the crossbow in the left. Kind of justice. And let's quick look at that setup. And then I just put the sword in the right hand, a little machete in the left. There's a quick look at that setup. Get ready to do some chopping. I also noticed, too, he has some little details. Little paint on the paws inside his hands. extra paint. Pretty cool to match, you know, just something different to go along with the painting and the nails for extra detail. So once again, taking a look at his backpack, you can put all these weapons on the back. So you could put the sword on this side or that side, but let's clip it there like so. That's how it's meant to hold it. You put the machete on this one, like that. Right, the axe can go on the very bottom, I think, or maybe you have to put that first. Hold on. I think you have to put that first. Yeah, that one's tough. Okay. Snaps like that. Let me try the sword now, maybe. All right, something like that. And then the crossbow, too, can go on. Plug it right into there. Holds it like that. Check that out. You don't want to put any weapons in the hands or one or whatever. Can hold all of them or a couple of them at a time. That's pretty cool. Taking a look at the last accessory I happen to have in hand. This is a 2000X inspired Grizzlor head to go on a Classics body. This came in the Eternia Heads 5-pack or something like that, which, you know, I showed them in a couple of my videos with the Classics. But I think originally this was supposed to be included with that Classics figure, and it got cut because he already got so much stuff, and he had to just cut the head. I think I read that, but he was supposed to get this. But just a quick look at that. So it has the extra yellow arm around the face. Yeah, face is wider, the eyes are smaller, the fangs are off to the side. Still has all the fur sticking up, a little different, right? It's the inside. So let's put that on, see what that looks like. Okay, there's a look with that 2000X head on the body. Yeah, I had to use a blow dryer to put that head on. It would not work, which is typical of a lot of those heads. You have to heat them up. But you know, it's definitely interesting. I think it has a paint. Yeah, it matches the arms okay. Hair is pretty cool, and as far as the articulation, so you can look all the way to the left, the right. Look down and somewhat up. It's kind of limited. I think the other head's a little better. It does a job, but yeah, definitely like this vintage inspired head much better. It just goes back to, you know, being a kid again, what Grizzlor always looked like. Then the last thing, of course, is a comparison against the Origins Grizzlor. So this was the San Diego Comic-Con one coming to 4-pack because he has a dark colors, which in the vintage line I think was very rare to get. I've never seen one with dark colors. I always had the light color one. Now I do have the, you know, Mattel Creations one right here with the light colors. Right, I have them in package, so you can see. Actually, the one in the Mattel Creation, that one's like more orange to body and brown. It doesn't even match that the Classics Grizzlor. Wow, just noticed that. But anyways, quick look at those two together. How do you want about them? Right, most people who collect the Origins are probably familiar if you got at least the other Grizzlor. So let's see. Do they use the same Horde band? No, this is a little different. But just look at the arms. The big part is the fur, the heads. Yeah, they did a really good job just putting the fur back on the Origins one, which can come off in parts. I've showed that in a video. Just look at the back and the cross strap. You know, and he can articulate the waist and all good stuff. But aside that, you know, again, it's just really cool to finally take the Grizzlor, the Classics Grizzlor to package. He's really impressive. I mean, just, yeah, the fur, the articulation, the weapons. Wow. Let him get a chance to play with him. But for the Origins collectors, this Grizzlor is just impressive as well. Or if you get, you know, if you happen to get this one and you took him out of card, again with the orange, the reddish colors on the arms and stuff. Actually, the fur looks, I don't know if it looks different on that one. I don't know, maybe it's just something with that figure. But anyway. Okay, once again, moving on. Take a look at our last figure. So yeah, we have the Classics Leech. So Leech was another figure going back to my childhood days, right? As far as vintage collection or figures that stood out to me because, I don't know, he kind of looked like some type of reptilian quarterback, powerhouse, mutant leech monster, you know, in a package with the big suction cup arms. Yeah, of course, the mouth he had. Now, the vintage one had a different mouth. And I heard that the Classics was supposed to also give you that head in this pack originally, but they didn't. They had to cut costs. The other thing, too, with this Leech, and the Origins Leech, by the way, is that they gave them the regular He-Man, Skeletor-style arms and legs, where the vintage one had these really bulky-looking arms and legs, which I thought were cool. So, yeah, again, the Classics doesn't. It just has the regular arms and legs. I never said that. You know, it's cool. Does what it has to do. He does have the larger body, of course, the head and stuff like that. But that, you know, it's a little bit of a bummer with this figure. And again, I remember reading about it, and it was mentioned for cost-cutting reasons, just to retool parts, whatnot. But aside that, and then the other thing is I had a childhood memory. I told this 2 or 3 times on my channel, the cockroach story. So, all right, I'll try to summarize it in a little shorter detail. But basically, I was about 12, maybe 13 years old, and I moved across town, took my whole MOTU collection that, I was collecting as a kid between the ages of 9, 10, 11, whatnot. It all went up on a table, which in my old house, I already had it up on a table. But I really didn't mess around with it much because I was at that age of 13 where I just kind of I felt ashamed. And maybe people can relate to that, just collecting toys, but yet I loved it. But you were kind of hiding it. It's just something with that age, So the house across the street from me had what they call the HUD house. Basically, it's just, the parents were alcoholics. I was friends with a couple of kids that lived there, which they were really cool. We used to play together and stuff like that. But they had strange people. It's like welfare kind of thing, coming and going and out of the house, kid and his dad and a brother moved in, and the kid's name was Robert. He was like just 1 year younger than me. He was only 12. Again, I was 13, I think. We were talking about Masters Universe. Me, him, my best friend was over, and that subject came up. And I had like almost the whole collection, a lot of it. I was missing a few pieces, but I had it up on a table, and it came up in conversation, being he was a little younger, and my best friend was also a little younger, again, was over. They were excited about it. And my best friend said, oh, yeah, such and such has almost a whole collection upstairs on a table. And I was like, yeah, and this kid Robert says, oh, I love Masters Universe. I have some stuff. So he runs back to the house, okay, and pulls out, grabs a couple things, comes back, because we were outside, comes outside, and I remember he has a Castle Grayskull of all things that was closed. He had an Evil Limb, he had a Scareglow with no cape, maybe a couple other figures, but of course, the figure I remember most is Leech. He had the vintage Leech. And it was exciting, messing around with somebody's toys again, and open up that fire. So I have to mess around with my stuff. We're playing around with, the things, open Castle Grayskull. And of course, Leech had the vintage one had a button on the back that you would press, and that's what would make the the suck feature on the face suck against glass or certain things it can stick to. By pressing a button, letting go of it, and that's how it creates suction. For people, maybe maybe you don't. But there was something felt off with this Leech. And I haven't held mine in a while. Again, it was set up on my table with the whole horde and stuff, but I'm shaking. It just felt off. Almost like something was broken inside, had some weight in it. And I'm like, I'm shaking. I'm like, what's inside this thing? So, I'm pressing and the button in the back was pretty big. And I'm pressing the button. I'm looking in. I'm trying to shake, see if something falls out of it. And as I'm doing that, guess what? A cockroach pops out of this thing. Oh, my God. And then another one comes out. And I shut the button, and we were freaking out. We wind up going back in my house, filling up the sink with hot water and throwing this toy in. And another note is my stepdad, who bought me all these toys, was a great guy. It really was. He liked everybody, kids, my friends, but he specifically told me, do not let those kids next door in his house. And so going back to that kid Robert, he wanted to go up and see my collection. I was like, my dad don't want anybody in. Now, he wasn't home at the time because he knew they had a lot of roaches. How that came up, I don't remember, but he knew that, and it's one of those things, you bring them in their clothes and they get in your house, forget about it. I've lived with roaches when I was younger in a house. I know, it does happen. But my dad wasn't home, so all three of us go in the house. We throw this Leech in the boiling sink of hot water. It looked like the scene from the Titanic, where everybody's jumping off the boat, that unfortunately kind of thing. But it was the roaches just coming out of the back of that button with the space in it. I mean, little ones, big ones, they just kept coming. They'd go swim boiling water across the sink, and they would die, and they wouldn't stop. It was disgusting. After a while, I get tired of it. The toy was waterlogged. They were still trying to come out of it. I picked this thing up. We went outside full of water, trying to shake it out. I remember throwing it down in the grass and saying, you know what? I don't want to play He-Man anymore. I'm done. So every time I look at a Leech figure, whether it was the Origins or various videos, I brought it up. Even the Classics now, it's one of the first things I think of. Anyway, yeah, let's check out this Classics Leech. And here's a quick look at Leech's bio. You want to pause and read that. Okay, we have the Classics Leech cut out of package, and here's a look around with Leech and all his accessories. Taking a closer look at the head sculpt for this Classics Leech. We expecting the Classics, really well done. It's very 2000X inspired, and I actually have a 2000X figure. I'll bring it for comparison in a little while. The Origins also copied his head, which I'll also compare in a little while. But yeah, you have the big open mouth with all the teeth showing. Now this has rubber, so you can squeeze it up and down, but it doesn't articulate. It's got the gums all sculpted, painted in there. You even have like a little hole that's yeah, I guess part of his would be a suction effect, or his throat, the entrance to his throat. Big red eyes with the little yellow pupil in there. Yeah, I really like this head design. First time I seen it was with the NECA action figure in the Origins. Pretty cool over that vintage one. Look from the back at the little point, the ears, the neck plates. Look from the other side. So let's see, and then here's the top. So as far as the articulation with this head, you can look all the way to the left, the right, go all the way down and look up. Now, I'm going to bring in the Origins vintage or alternate, actually the vintage head, excuse me. Yeah, that's pretty much what it would look like. Not familiar. It's pretty cool. Has a big rubbery suction effect that, again, the vintage one, like my Road Story, had a hole in it. It was onto the body, and that button created a suction, to where this one, it still works, but it's kind of a push-on suction. So that's what they were supposed to add with this figure. It would have been cool. I don't know if this would fit this head. This was a darker color. It's just such a weird green. Yeah, I was going to try it on, but I don't think it's worth it because of the color so off. It's too bright green. But anyway, they were supposed to add this just for vintage nostalgia. They didn't, so we get this one, which works, does a job for the classics. All right, so that's the head. Moving down, yeah, all new Buck. That big plated armor all over his body. It's what Leech was. Big powerhouse. Yeah, I love it. I like this big bone, armory type of bone piece that goes, vertebrae or something, goes all the way around the front of the neck. Like, look at the plating in the back. It's two larger shoulder blades or plates. You can just see how the armor, how it's sculpted in sections. Then it stops here. You got a little spine piece that goes down. That's a different piece, different color. Let me see. I'm still looking around at the figure. So yeah, you got the big horde bat sculpted outwards. Like a lot of these characters painted red. And with the neck. All right, so the plating goes all the way up to the neck. It's a good transition too between this head and neck piece. It's not like no goofy gaps. So then he does have the ab crunch, right? Even with this whole new tool Buck, go all the way forward and back. Oh, red's chipping again. So with these red colors in these figures. And you can spin at the waist, then moving over to the arms. So yeah, once again, they should have been like larger, stockier arms. You get the reuse of the classics He-Man Skeletor arms, at least for the shoulder and bicep. And then, of course, the forearm's a little different. It's longer, has its own wrist bracer. But, all right, still works. It's just, I would have rathered the larger arms and legs. Anyway, as far as articulation with these, go all the way up, down, forward, back, right? Typical stuff of the bicep swivel. Can bend all the way, bend the elbow all the way up, straighten it out, and it's suction cup. Look at the articulation now. Wow, go all the way across to the chest. To the face. That's pretty good. And then moving down, we already talked about this newer forearm with a different type of like strap, like gauntlet or something like that. That's all part of the sculpt, painted orange. And then, of course, one of his most noted parts beside his head is the suction cup hands and feet. Now, these are hard plastic, so they don't push or like. There's no suction cup effect with these, like the Origins figure has, or I think the vintage had as well. But really good detail. You have the three fingers that are obviously it's in an open position with the suction cup showing. It just does spin. It is on a hinge joint that goes in and out or up and down depending which position you're spinning. That's pretty cool. So when you try to squeeze somebody with the head, they go in like that. And it's inside of it. It has like a little hole in there. Moving over to the left arm, all the same, but now you have this shoulder guard with a horde symbol. That horde symbol, the bicep strap that goes. Is that a separate piece? No, that's all part of this. So it's not a separate band. It's actually connected to this now. And all right, it's flexible, pulls back, and you could take the whole thing off the arm, slide it down if you wanted to. Right, I'm just gonna leave it on. So it's a horde band shoulder armor. But as far as the articulation with that, so you can still go all the way up. And this is. All right, it's pretty soft rubber, by the way. And I guess if you want to take it off and put it... Actually, I don't know. How would you put it on the other arm? You'd have to remove these hands, which are like... Yeah, the classics hands aren't the most friendliest thing to remove, excuse me. But you can. So I guess you could switch it to the side if you wanted to. But I just leave it on the left, right, the way it came. All right, where were we? So as far as articulation, go up with that, down, forward, back. Same thing, bend at the elbow. Same forearm with this type of bracer, painted orange. A little green slop there. And the same type of suction cup hand obviously on the left side. You can spin, hinge joint can go in and out or up and down depending on the position, however you spin it to. Big hard suction cup. And yeah, again, these are really hard. You can't even bend them in. Like they won't, they're not even flexible enough to squeeze inwards. The other thing too is I like the green tones on his figure. Oh, again, I always did with Leech. He's very reptilian looking, just something with, you know, whether it's Merman or Whiplash, in this case, and of course Leech, figures like that. Some with those swamp-looking green colors always stands out. But yeah, just the everything between the face. Then you have a different, obviously, tone up in this part of the armor in this piece. Let's see. Then even the belt. Well, I guess the belt matches this. I mean, the loin cloth or pad protector. So that's pretty cool. And then he has a wash all over him as well, or some kind of dry brushing, like a lot of classics figures seem to have. It's so the whole body's really a lightish green color, and then you almost have a color similar to the armor that's dry brushed all over. Now I can see in the light on the head, yeah, all over. Okay. And let's see, where were we? So dropping down, we said he could spin at the waist. Yeah, all new buck and everything. We already went through that. Has his own unique style belt. I already said like a loin, technical looking loin type of, you know, protector. It's front and back. You see where it's split. Very simple, but yeah, definitely all different. Everything is all. They spent a lot of money tooling on this figure, and I could see where they had to save it with the arms and the upper part of the upper part of the arms and legs, I guess. And dropping down. So once again, it's all right. I already said this a couple times. Just He-Man Skeletor classic style legs. As far as articulation, go out with a split. Right, and kick forward, go back, bend at the knee. You have the thigh. You can spin it. You know, a little thigh cut. Other leg is all the same. Let's test it out. Kick forward, back. We just talked about a split. And then moving down now, you have these, you know, the Horde, these half boots or ankle bracer type things that go all the way around the ankles. But the, you know, the Horde bat, it looks like Hordak's boots actually, side without the, yeah, it's basically the same thing Hordak has, I think. But they're black with silverish highlights, or like a dry brush again under my light. And the Horde bat sculpted outwards, painted red. So these can spin, of course. And then dropping down, the other parts, of course, the suction cup foot. And that's, yeah, really good detail. Large, again, very hard like this one up here, so it's not going to stick to anything. And as far as articulation with this foot, attached to this ankle type of bracer, you can go up, down, and yeah, it can rock all around. It's really good articulation. And the other side is all the same. Let's look at the bottom if I didn't show it, back. Okay, once again, moving forward, take a look at Leech's weapons and accessories. So, of course, it comes with the iconic Horde crossbow. But now it's cast in a maroon, like a reddish or maroon type of color. Now you can see, again, it has little differences between Mantennas and Hordaks. Just something with the head, a little bit how to design these extra spikes coming up, how to paint it, just, yeah, the overall sculpt. From what I can see, I think the back is the same as Mantenna's crossbow, very similar. But now this one has a clip that can go on his arm because obviously it has suction cups. And then the other accessory I think is really cool is this Horde-shaped, it's a Horde bat-shaped capture net. Look at that. It's all rubber. Has Hordak's head on it. Right? Big piece of mesh. And it has suction cups. Now, they're kind of weird what they stick to. I tried pieces of plastic. Let me try that. If you push them hard enough, so they do stick. They're rubber, but not well. I guess it depends. But I guess they're somewhat meant to stick. Okay, once again, here's a quick look with Leech's arm with his crossbow. Yeah, screw it on the left side for now. Now, you notice that you have to put the suction cup hand all the way in the down position for this to work. Because if you put it this way and try and stall it, it interferes with the crossbow. It's not long enough. That's kind of an interesting note. And then the other thing is, I don't know how he's supposed to throw this. I guess it's something that, at first I thought maybe it fires out of here and opens up. But no, it has a bolt sticking out. I mean, I guess you could use your imagination. Or he's just supposed to hold it and throw it. And then it, like, you know, this will be the back, so that's the open position. Or kind of goes over his shoulder and when he's ready to deploy it. You know, little things I think about. Would have been cool if there was some way to hook this on his suction cup from to hold it so he's getting ready to throw it. So the next thing I want to do is bring in a Classics He-Man just for a size comparison against the Classics Leech, because, you know, again, he's supposed to be their big quarterback refrigerator Leech monster. So you kind of see a quick comparison between the two. You know, he still has a pretty good size. Side, you know, there you go again, same arms, I already said a couple times. But does he stand taller? Yeah, he is taller, and he just, again, stands out with the wider buck over He-Man. And then the other thing, bringing He-Man in, this capture net. So this would be the inside. And I guess when it gets thrown or fired, it would wrap around the figure, in this case He-Man, like this. And I would think this can stick against a window or a wall. Again, I tried a couple things off camera. They stick, but they fall off. So I think that's the idea of it. Or to wrap around them, and I was wondering maybe these can stick to the plastic or his back. If you didn't have like a background. Let me see. No, doesn't work. I tried this thing here. Something like that. Yeah, this is like a piece of plastic. Yeah, these, again, don't stick well. Just trying to make a quick example. But I think that's what it's meant to do. Hold them against some type of wall or glass. I don't have glass on hand. That can... Yeah, that's not working. All right, take two. So I tried the net on a different, like a plastic lid to come off of, Tupperware. And they do stick and hold He-Man up. Every now and then one of them pops. It is plastic. It'd probably work better on glass, which again, I don't really have at the moment. But it's, this net's definitely meant to use all 4 suction cups to take a figure like He-Man. See, this one just popped and put them against the wall or glass, whatever they can stick to. So that's pretty cool. They work when they do. So next thing I did for a little bonus, I wanted to try that Origins vintage-inspired Leech sucker head on his body. At first, I wasn't gonna, as I mentioned earlier, because of the colors, but it does work. I had to really force it on, and even though the greens are off, it can work, but so you see that? It does have a gap. It only goes down so far. Just trying to reimagine what this figure would have looked like if they came with a classic-style head with the right colors. But I don't know, it's fun to try. It's the best I can get it on, so you can't really articulate it well, but just kind of give you an idea what it would look like if we had one. Okay, taking a look at a couple comparisons. So once again, we have a Classics Leech with the head back on against the NECA Stactions Leech. So I thought this Leech would be a good example as far as comparison against this Classics one. Yeah, look at that. Now this one was based off that 2000X show. So again, that's kind of where the idea of this mouth, open mouth with the teeth come from. And that's where he got the idea, I think, for the Classics, somewhat. This figure was out first, I believe. Look at the big bulky arms on him and legs. I love that. So again, it would have been cool if they had, just tooled new parts for the arms and legs like they originally were gonna, and they didn't because of cost-cutting reasons from what I read. But yeah, that really stands out. And he's, oversized too. But yeah, there's the mouth. And the other thing too is with this NECA Stactions Leech, look at the suction cups. They actually have little tongues coming out with rows of teeth. It's kind of alive compared to the, the Classics, just a plain suction cup. But to be fair, it goes back to what the vintage did. And here's a look from the back. And the downfall with a lot of these NECA Stactions were just, they were stactions. They didn't move. They had no articulation. Really, it would have been cool. At least the arms were able to articulate. I didn't need like knee joints and stuff. And then for the last comparison, of course, there's our Classics Leech against the Origins Leech. So yeah, you can kind of see how they went about the Origins or the Classics or Vintage. He came out pretty cool. They did give him some newer parts, the larger buck. But see, once again, it's almost the same style mouth. It almost looks identical to the Classics. I thought they reused it, but no, there's differences in this one over the Classics. I mean, not only the paint, but scales, it's different. But it has the open mouth, is rubbery, flexible, right? But again, no articulation. We talked about the chest and buck. Let's look at the back. Now, see, the vintage one had, they didn't even sculpt the button. Had something close. No, I don't even see that, but it had a big button in the back. And going back to the arms, they did the same thing as I already mentioned with the Origins, just reused the typical Skeletor and He-Man arms from the Origins line as they did with the Classics. And the legs. All right, so before we finish the video up, here's one last look of all the Classics Evil Horde. I removed that a package. And of course, you see as a little bonus, I brought in the Classics Modulok. I feel like a 10-year-old again. When I think of the Evil Horde, when I was, 10 years old, went to Child's Roll for the first time, my mom let me buy all 4. And Modulok came, I think, a couple months later. Or my buddy or his aunt bought all 4 for his cousin, that kind of thing. And, of course, my buddy got to play with them. This is exactly what I think about the Horde. And then, of course, there's figures later like Multibot, Mosquito, and the Fright Zone. They come out later on. But when I really think about the Horde, this is what I see going back to that time. Now, the Classics Modulok, I never reviewed him. I bought him loose like this, but here's a quick look at him. Yeah, just awesome. The heads move, the neck piece. Grizzlor keeps falling. All the arms are independent. The joint, everything. The elbow joints, the little hands. You can see he has the dual guns, twist at the waist. Has the ab crunch, spins. Of course, he can come apart and mix them all around, make 1,000 different monsters, just like the Vintage and the Origins. But I think you got to really heat things up with a blow dry with this figure. I haven't tried it yet with him. Yeah, he has the regular legs, full articulation, another leg with the blue plates, the back leg, the segmented ends, all that good stuff. Here's a look at the back if you're not familiar. Again, this isn't really a review on him. Maybe one day I'll do a small review on him with the box. But aside that, it's just so cool seeing all these figures once again. And the Classics did an excellent job with them. You know, Grizzlor came out with the fur, Leech, yeah, just a big face and that net. Yeah, the arm, bigger arms and legs would have been better, but all right, get over it. He's still pretty cool. Hordak's always just one of the most vicious-looking villains, going with the MOTU series. And then Mantenna, just a phenomenal job with the head, legs, everything I went over. Just incredible. Aside that, as always, I appreciate everybody watching. And until next time, take care.